Hello everyone. Today we are going to make chili dogs. I recommend this recipe for the chili with your hot dog. And as usual, we're going to go back with the apple cider vinegar, a little bit of olive oil. I don't have the store-bought hamburger meat. We're in the April 3rd, 2020 right now. I had to get this from a farm basically, and my grocery store was out of hamburger meat, so we had to just do what we could. And that's why I'm making these videos, for everyone that doesn't have it, skills in the kitchen or the know-how to find things. And this chili powder, if you only want to use that, that's fine. I always add a dash of other types of chili powder. This is like a paprika. That's all optional. And I'm gonna also add a little tiny bit of ketchup, but not much. So this is all it's gonna be. I'm gonna go ahead and start the ground beef, and we're gonna put the ground beef in cold water with the vinegar, and we're gonna mash it up before we start the heat. Okay, so went ahead and got some ketchup out, and I've put the hamburger meat in. It's not on yet. That's the water that's boiling that is on, but the hamburger meat is not on. So this is something that you're gonna do before you add any heat. This is 1 tablespoon of the apple cider vinegar, which I just shook well before I did this. So we're gonna pour that right on top. And then with the water, and this is cold water, I always use filtered water, we're gonna put enough to cover the meat. And I'm just gonna, my masher, it's a potato masher, but I use it to mash all my ground beef recipes. And this chili, actually, this is the first recipe I ever tried out with apple cider vinegar, ever. This was the thing that started it all for me and my journey with using that. So this hamburger meat is from a grass-fed beef farm in South Carolina, where we live. And there were restrictions on buying how much you could get, as they are also in the grocery store. To me, this meat tastes better, but definitely use what you got. I use 80-20. You can see we're getting mushy, and I've used about, this is 2.5 cup measure. We're going to add more water, and going to continue mashing. It's going to get kind of, this is only 1 pound too. I have to say that as far as your dollar goes, this stretches really good when you mash your ground beef down like this. Makes it more digestible. I got where I couldn't eat ground beef for a long time because it was, my system just couldn't take it. And the vinegar with the mothers, the apple cider vinegar with mothers, changed a lot with my digestive system. And not only was I able to eat it, but I actually enjoyed it better. Not because I changed hamburger meat, which I did also do, but I have been times where I've had to, just buy what was available or what I could afford, and that's not always, the best. But when you can, and you should, when you can, get better products, organic, grass-fed, non-GMO products. You should. It's not always possible, but I can definitely tell you there's a difference. But with this apple cider vinegar, there's always a difference. So I'm also making these videos for my future family, my grandchildren, that, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna be here to pass down some of these things. So this is just the 1 pound, and as you can see, this is really mashed well. Now we're gonna start adding the spices. Okay, now spices. I've already added my hot dogs to the water. I'm gonna add a splash of olive oil. I'm just gonna add a few shakes of salt, pepper, just to your and your family's liking. This is ground cayenne pepper. I recommend using a little bit of every type of chili powder you have. This is paprika, and the main, this is chili powder. Oops. I might have added a little too much there. And then this is just a regular chili powder. And my grandkids really like this, and I always use different variations of pepper spices. Okay, so I paused the video for a moment to add a little bit more regular chili powder, and as you can tell, there's still no heat on. That's kind of the main point I'm trying to make, is to do all this before you turn. There's like a pretty good size squirt of ketchup. Like I said, just use what you have. Does not have to be the brand that I'm using. It's whatever you like. Now I'm going to turn the heat on. I'm going to get this rolling and boiling. I'm just going to continue to mash and mix, and we'll add water a few more times, but pretty much this is all you're going to do. And you could continue to add more type of chili powder and or salt and pepper, or a little more ketchup, but this is the basic recipe, and I'll add on to this whenever it's done cooking. I'm going to cook it probably a good 10 minutes on high. It's 6:50 now. I'll get back to you in 10 minutes and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, we are back. It's just 7 o'clock on Friday evening on April the 3rd. I'm just giving this date and time. I'm only showing y'all the time because my whole point of making these videos is to say this is what you're gonna get in this amount of time from using the apple cider vinegar. With the mothers, you can use any brand, get whatever's available. And you can also use whatever recipe you want. This is just a basic general recipe. You can use your, grandmother's recipe or your mom's recipe. And then the most important part to add to that recipe would be that vinegar with the meat and cold water and your spices. So we're at 10 minutes cooking. And this is what our chili sauce looks like. We could rapidly boil this. The hamburger meat, the chili won't be tough. It will be very tender because you mashed it up in the cold water with your vinegar. And I'm just gonna, basically now we're just gonna boil this down. I'm gonna add a little more ketchup. And this is my grandchildren's #1 requested meal at our house. They used to just like hot dogs, and it wasn't until I started making this chili this way that they even really ate it. And my grandkids are they're 6, 7, 8, and 10. And they've been eating it. I've been cooking it like this for about a year now. Before that, I did make it exactly pretty much the same way, except for I didn't mash the meat down and I didn't use the vinegar. That was just something I kept playing with because there's a restaurant in South Carolina that serves really, really good hot dogs, and they're very famous. And we still buy hot dogs from there sometimes, but I kept trying to tweak my recipe to mimic their chili sauce. And it was not until I added the vinegar and mashed my ground beef down that it really made all the difference. So I've turned this up on high, and we're gonna let it cook. Let's give it another, let's say 20 minutes total. So at 7:10, I'll show the video back and where we're at. All I have added was a little more ketchup, and you'll see even the thickness of that chili. And this is still just 1 pound of ground beef. When you mash it up like that, you get a lot more, and it tastes a lot better too. And it's way more like what you're gonna get at a restaurant. And since none of us are going to restaurants right now, and we never really did anyway, few and far between, we can all try to enjoy food from home and find out how we can come up with different things to help each other. I just turned it down from high to about medium because I got a really good boil going, and you just want enough boil to go on that you're getting some of the water out of it, and you don't want to cook it too high. Although I don't think your meat is going to rubberize, even if you did cook it on a little higher temperature, I just would turn it down. You're still going to be able to feed your family with well within 30 minutes. This is a meal you can have on Fridays or after working all day or whatever you do, or just, did laundry or something all day and you just want to be done with dinner, and you're going to get that still a quality meal in with your family, and you're not taking the hours to get it done in. And my family got to where even if I was putting in, over an hour in cooking, before I started apple cider vinegar in my meals, I put it in everything. In my chicken, I made chicken and dumplings yesterday. I put it in the chicken in the pressure cooker, about a tablespoon or a capful, whatever you prefer. And I also put it in the dumplings, the water right here on the stove. Pork chops, ribs, even steak, New York strip steak, filet mignon. I have used just a little bit of apple cider vinegar on top of salt and pepper and a little bit of garlic on that. And anything you make, I recommend trying a couple of dashes of apple cider vinegar to whatever you're making. And just a reminder, this was 2.5 cups of water when we started, and this is where we're at with 1 pound of ground beef. And we're, all the spices were just dashed in with, different, whatever your preference is. It doesn't have to be as hot. You can just use chili powder. Usually chili powder alone is not very hot. I don't like hot food, and neither does my grandkids. They all really enjoy this chili, and mostly they enjoy, they'll eat it all weekend. And I do make homemade tacos very similar to this also. The apple cider vinegar is the way to go with anything that you're cooking. It's just going to speed up the time. The organic apple cider vinegar, I don't know, I think I did use the regular apple cider vinegar when I very first started cooking with vinegar, and after I changed to the raw unfiltered, it really took up my flavor about 10 levels just in that one change of ingredient. I'm gonna turn this down. We're at 7:09, and just turn this down to pretty much low as it can go. And the water, it's almost completely boiled out. I would be ready to serve this to my family. Tonight, I'm not going to plate up the food because it's just hot dogs and chili. I think everyone pretty much knows how to make them. And the other reason why is because we just have loaf bread. Like I said, it's April 3rd, 2020, and everybody's just buying their necessities. And one thing I decided to do was, we didn't really need hamburger buns, hot dog buns. I said, we're just going to try this with all bread. So if we, have some of that in the future, maybe I'll plate it up for y'all. But right now, I think you can see that dinner is ready, and it's gonna be delicious like always. I hope y'all get some good meals out of my tips, and feel free to leave some comments. Thank you.